Hi, welcome back guys to another episode of Driven by Christ Auto. So it is currently Wednesday morning. Yesterday we took an order from Johnny down at the dealership, and it's on the Hyundai Tiburon. So we are going to be completing that today, and I'm hoping that we can maybe get some drag racing in today. You know, take one of our cars down to the drag track, and I don't think I've yet to make a video on racing the all-wheel drive Mitsubishi Eclipse. So we're going to try to fit all that in today. I hope we can do it, but before we start, we're going to share a message from our Lord. Dear Jesus, how wonderful is it to know that you are taking care of us. When we spend time with you enjoying the warmth and security of your loving presence, it's easier to trust that every detail of our life is under your control. The Bible confirms that everything fits into a plan for good for those who love you and are called according to your design and purpose. Because the world is such an abnormal falling condition, events seem to happen randomly, with little or no apparent meaning. But you've shown us that when we view the world this way, we're overlooking the most important fact, the limitations of our understanding. Below the surface of the visible world, there are mysteries we do not understand. If we could actually see how close you are to us and how constantly you work on our behalf, we would never doubt your wonderful care of us. But your word instructs us to live by faith, not by sight. Please help us to trust in your loving presence. In your wonderful name, Jesus. Amen. Alright. So, guys, that's going to be coming from Romans chapter 8, verse 28, Job chapter 43, verses 3, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. You can, on that whole little passage that that I had written down from y'all, you can find all the references from those good books out of the Bible. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this day going. We got to finish out the Tiburon for Johnny. He kind of called me up, and most shops can't be pumping out cars like this, but Driven by Christ Auto, they want this thing done today. The customer, he's already got a buyer for it. Whenever he made some phone calls, apparently, maybe one of previous customers of ours at one point in time, we worked on their vehicle. They heard about it and they're like, "Oh, if that shop is building this car, oh yeah, we're wanting to buy it." So he's already got a buyer that is waiting eagerly for this car. So we're gonna do our best to try to get it done today. And I think the last time I kind of come in here earlier, guys, before I started recording and through one of the rotors on. So all we should have left is allow this. Okay, it started. Sometimes that machine does some weird stuff. Go ahead and turn the rotors in the back. I'm trying to remember what all have we done to this thing. It don't matter. We're just going to go ahead and start putting it back together. So we got the lower control arm on. Looks like we got the CV joints in there. Brakes are on. Let me see what else we got missing for up front. Got a bunch of stuff up underneath the hood. Downpipe, exhaust manifold. We can probably go ahead and put our downpipe in while we're up underneath here. Go ahead and get it clamped in. Not brand new, but it's still good enough to pass inspection. We'll throw the catalytic converter up underneath here. Alright. Let's go ahead and move to the back and see what all we got here. Just rotors. And since we're gonna go ahead and throw a new set on there, because my machine's gonna turn the other one out. So throw the pads on. Yeah, it's crazy. You already got a buyer for the car and it ain't even built yet. Just because they heard it was built by our shop. That's great. I mean, if you got a business like that, you know the Lord is working for your business, or you know, he's not working for you, but he's helping you. He is definitely helping you with blessings. I remember whenever I worked on cars in Monroe, whenever I had a little mobile shop there, I had people calling me up for 2 years. 2 years after that. I never thought that, you know, I actually reached out or made a difference in people that well. I thought, you know, oh, well, this guy just charges cheap for mechanic work, you know. But word of mouth got around, and I've watched my other videos, and I'm gonna try to quit with the and all that. I can't help it. It's part of a nervous problem that I have, and I'm also having some issues for today. See, there we go again. All right. Anyway, so I was supposed to go out today and feed the man, I'm just a nervous wreck, guys. It's just horrible today. I got up. I was supposed to go to West Monroe, and I got this thing. I made a promise to the Lord that I would feed the homeless. I watched a mother and a child take food from a dumpster and eat it because they did not have any other food. That just killed me inside. So I was gonna get up this morning and head over there. Now I'm talking about events. We ain't talking about events in Car Simulator. I'm talking about in real world events. I was gonna go over there and I bought all my plate lunches. Had 40 pounds of chicken leg quarters, and I was going to barbecue them. Was gonna do some beans and I'm gonna try to stop that. Do some beans, honey baked beans. I normally put like little mini smoky sausages in there. Really good food, like stuff my kids would fight over. So, um, but the chicken was bad. It went bad. I mean, as soon as I even opened up the refrigerator, I smelt it, and I was like, God, please don't let that be the chicken. Let it be something else in the bottom. But I was wrong. It was the chicken. There was nothing I could do about it. No way of saving it. Nothing I could do. Oh, wait a minute. We gotta pull this out of here. Can't be having that. We gotta put theirs back into there. Watch it, guys. Whenever you're putting these parts onto here, make sure you're putting their parts onto there. Now, this brake servo we can rebuild. I think these plastics ain't gonna let us do it, and we're also gonna have to hit O'Reilly's up for this part right here. So we're gonna add it to the list. We're gonna go to their performance section and make sure we get the right one. Alright, we're gonna order about 10 of these, that way we can keep them on the shelf. And these are our K&N Rosetta, whatever, Pietro Part 1, like an Italian race filter, but we're just gonna go with K&N because that's what it looks like. So, alright, so we got the wheel call order in for O'Reilly's for that, so they will have that here shortly. We're going to, looks like we need to get some interior also going for this car too, but I think I've already ordered that, so we'll go ahead and put the rest of these body panel pieces in. We had to order new brake lights, new headlights. There's no way that, you know, the game will let us refurbish these, but you can actually refurbish these in real life with wet sanding paper and some polishing compound. So we're gonna pretend that we refurbished them, and this car is gonna actually have to have its original license plate too, which they are destroyed. So we're gonna have to get Jamie to go down to the DMV and get us some more license plates for this. So let's go ahead and get into our DMV menu. Oop, wrong one. We're gonna go down here to our plates, and it's just a standard license plate. We're going to need 2 of them for a Hyundai Tiburon of year, make, model. Jamie's going to get all the information on the vehicle. She's going to go get that for us. So we put that order in. Should be popping out in the office for her now. Go ahead and put in this glass, glue it in. Alright. Normally they got rubber seals around them. We'll go ahead and put this window regulator in, put this window in. Try to get as many pieces on the car as we can. That way we're not just sitting here, because I really want to get to the track today and show y'all the, I guess it's already in the dyno shop. I actually forgot where I parked it at. So, the all-wheel drive Mitsubishi Eclipse that we built, the Paul Walker car, the neon green one. The one that looked like it come off of Fast and the Furious. So, anyways, we'll go over there and we'll go check it out real quick. For people that are just now tuning in, this is our first Driven by Christ drag car. We picked this thing up at a junkyard. This thing was completely destroyed. It has this is one of the faster engines in the game, unless they've updated it and put a new one on here I'm not aware of, but this is the one that you can get the most horsepower out of. It is a twin cam variable valve. It's like having VVTi and VTEC, and plus they threw a supercharger on top of it. So over 1,000 horsepower in this car. Pretty quick, running slicks on it. You know, interior's completely redone. Kind of dirty because we've raced it a lot. We'll get that thing shined up. But that was our first one that we built. The second one is this one right here. And this thing, it will walk all over the Charger, Challenger, whatever that thing is. It will completely stomp it taking off, even with regular street tires, because it is all-wheel drive. So it's not even a turbo motor, but because we found this car at a junkyard or an auction, I think it was an auction, or was it a junkyard? I'm not really sure I forgot how we got this car, but it come factory with like 300 horsepower. So pay attention to these blocks, guys, because if you get them from a junkyard, you'll notice that certain engines have way more horsepower factory than what they did if you go up there and you buy like a car brand new from like a dealership on this game, or you know, whatever. You just got to pay attention to the block and try not to destroy it, because if you destroy the block, you have to do a motor swap, and then it puts the engine back to the base horsepower. So be really careful whenever you're doing engine blocks, because that is your starting base horsepower. And since this car started out with 300 horsepower, it doesn't even have a turbo. I think the original engine only had like 150 horsepower, so it was like double. So really good to start out with. So that means after we modified it and built it up, it had a lot more horsepower than what we could get out of a regular one. So anyways, Jamie threw our air filters out the back door before she left, so we're gonna go ahead and throw them in here. O'Reilly's has done came and gone, so either way, we already got somebody coming in trying to make noise in the background. Jamie's supposed to be at the DMV right now getting car tags that we need. You always forgetting something, woman. Alright. Throw these annoying clips on. Oh god, it's so hard getting on these. Even zoomed all the way in. What are you doing? Sorry about that. Jamie's losing everything in the background as usual. Alright, get the starter on. Alright, so starter's in. We'll go ahead and slide our radiator in, put our cooling fan. Oh, wait a minute, hold up. I always do something dumb. I think we actually refurbished a radiator. No, we didn't. Okay. An intercooler. Oh yeah, this thing is turbo. My bad. That means we're gonna have to get an intercooler pipe and all that other stuff. We're gonna slide our computer back in. You know, we're just running a factory computer. We're not trying to build a race car here. We're gonna put our ABS pump in and control module. Alright, make sure that there's not an older one. Because you gotta make sure you put the original parts on here, or else you could be losing money, especially on stuff that you cannot, you know, repair. So, make sure that goes back onto there, or else you're gonna have some really high valued scrap, and it don't matter if it's 95%, you don't get any more scrap for it than what you did if it was at 1%. So that's a kind of unfortunate piece in the game, because I would love to just go buy a new, kind of almost like a brand new car at an auction, and then just strip the whole car down for just a part, you know, scrap parts, which we got 8,307. That's what we started out with today. So anyways, let's get this thing back up in the air, and we're going to go ahead and get our intercooler in, run our boost piping, even though that's kind of invisible, but you know, imagination, guys. That's what we're working with. Alright, so we got a this has got some plastic on. I'm not a fan of the plastic intercoolers. I like the TIG welded all aluminum for, you know what? Yeah, I can't do that, because I know these things can produce a good amount of boost, and they love breaking the plastic. So we're gonna hit O'Reilly's up again in their performance section, and we are going to order a TIG welded all aluminum intercooler. It's $150, but I'd rather the customer have a good part that's not going to leave them broke down on the side of the road, because if you blow the plastic or crack it and you're not building boost, you're not making power, and it won't run efficiently. So we got the order in for that, and technically we could have run a sports catalytic converter for you know, better exhaust flow and gas mileage, a cat back, complete cat back. Since this is a turbo car, it wouldn't be too loud, but Johnny just wants us to keep it like it was. He don't want to put too much money into it. It would just be, you know, it would just be coming out of our expenses. So come on, what is going on with this thing? Alright, there we go. Go ahead and clamp all up. Let's get our fuel tank in. Ooh, that thing's destroyed. Well, looks like we are hitting O'Reilly's back up again. Hopefully I can catch them where they can deliver all this at one time before they deliver the TIG welded intercooler. We'll put in an order. We're gonna get 5 gas tanks. I think they can fit that in the back of their vehicle. Alright, so these are 15-gallon tanks with a 3-gallon reserve. It's always good to have a 3-gallon reserve. So, and we got that on the way. I think we got some tires that we can throw on. So let's go ahead and we'll do that, because we are completed with the rear suspension. So, tires were in pretty good shape. These are the factory wheels and tires for the vehicle. Not too shabby. Looks okay, I guess. I would have ran a little bit of a lower profile tire just for that sportier look, but that would involve us buying new tires, and it would be a pretty good sacrifice for okay, well, let's put the tire on up here. Oh yeah, we gotta put our sway bar end links in. So, ooh, we gotta order some of them. We're almost out. Let me tag that real quick. We'll put that on the menu too. O'Reilly's is gonna be like, what in the world is going on down there at DrivenByChrist Auto? Put it all on one ticket. It's only 10 guys. I just need 10 of them. They're gonna be calling me up. They'll be like, are you having a problem with your computer over there? Because we keep getting orders for individual parts when you can get this stuff at one time. Nah, they wouldn't care. They be fighting over them tickets, boy. They see them things printing up. They're like, oh, I'm getting that. Alright, so, anyways, now we can put our front tire on. Still had some good tread on it. Nothing just needed to be cleaned up. That's about it. There we go. Take a look. Boy, this thing's coming together. It's looking nice. You can see the red calipers behind it, so you know it's got some sport attitude going on with it. Some sport lights. So we're waiting on our fuel tank. I think we can go ahead and put this exhaust on there. There we go. Alright. Got some nice outlets on there. Still got a good muffler chamber. This thing's got a lot of chambers though. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chambers of baffles inside this muffler. So yeah, this thing's gonna be like super quiet. You ain't gonna hear no turbo on this one. You may hear a little bit with that racing air filter, with that basically cold air intake we put on the car. You may hear a little bit. We could also pull the silencing ring out of the turbo, and it will get more airflow if you do that. So yeah, we'd pull this little pipe off right here, and there will be a silencing ring. Or wait a minute, not this side. It's on the other side of the turbo. Yeah, right here. There's a silencing ring where it pulls in. You can see you have it exhaust coming out. It would go through this turbo and come out of here. And what it does is it spins this turbo in a circle. And it creates a lot of suction. It pulls in air and then it compresses it and shoves it out into our engine. So, or I think actually it pulls in air from here and then compresses it and shoves it into the motor. But either way, where it pulls in the air at is where we are, you know, where we're going to take the silencing ring off. It keeps the turbos quiet. But I mean, if you got a turbocharged car, you want to hear that turbo. I know I do. I mean, some people get aggravated with hearing that constant noise all the time, but I don't. Man, my younger kids, whenever they were younger, all my cars have been loud my whole life. I've literally gutted the exhaust on all of my cars. One, because of the extra gas mileage. I mean, who's going to argue with gas prices this day if you can gain a couple of, you know, couple of more horsepower and definitely better gas mileage on V6s for sure. You know, who's going to complain about that? You know, I try to keep it quiet in town. I ain't, you know, blowing out first gear and hitting the two-step through the middle of town, but whenever I get out there on that 4-lane, it's fair game then. Like, if I get caught, you know, screaming through a few gears, then hey, that's just me. If there wasn't, you know, I ain't gonna say bad people, but if there wasn't people who broke some of the dumb laws that we got, then what would be the point of the police department? How would they make their funds? So I'll look at it, hey guys, I'm just doing you a favor. I mean, would you rather pull somebody over that's just got a loud car and give them a ticket, or have to deal with some of the dumb stuff that you got to deal with robbing and stealing and killing going on? That's what the world's turning to. So yeah, I think if I was a police officer, you know, I'd just rather deal with speeding tickets and muffler stuff, or you know, just stuff like that. But really, what your job is for is to deal with real crime. Leave people alone with their exhaust. Man, it ain't gonna be too long. These things are gonna be a thing of the past. There won't probably even be oil combustion motors no more by, you know, in the next couple of, I wouldn't even say 100 years. In the next decade, they're probably going to do away with it. So whenever you hear that loud street bike or loud performance car off in the distance, just remember there may be a day that you wake up and you never hear that again. I hope I'm not around to see those days. But either way, I'm going to enjoy it while it's here and pay my tickets if I get hit with it. It's just part of the game, I guess. But either way. Alright, so we got a few parts coming in for Mo Rallies. Still waiting on all of that because I put in like 3 will call tickets at the last minute, and I'm pretty sure the manager is just loving me right now. So we're going to go outside while we're waiting on the parts. And I think we're going to clean up our drag car and move it over there into the paint booth. But you can see it's got a little bit of dust on it, a little bit. It's not completely dark black, but you can see like the little spots and burnt rubber that we done slung all over it. So let's get this thing cleaned up. Hit that shine. Hit that vehicle walk around. Alright, now look how dark it is. You don't see none of that on there now. We use Superior products for our cleaning bay. You can get these at O'Reilly's. They got the like Cajun brown we use for dirt and real heavy grease. We use Purple Power for oil and stuff like that, and to clean out our engine bays. Normally what we do is we crank up our engine, try not to spray electronics down if possible, or the air breather, but soak everything down with Purple Power. Just soak the whole engine bay down with it. And you know, while it's warm, it don't have to be hot, but warm. You want it warm because it helps break up grease and oil a lot better. So spray everything down with Purple Power, then come behind it and spray it off with a high pressure washer. Don't get too close where it's tearing up your wiring harness and all that. People get how to use a pressure washer, so you want to do it from a distance and spray everything off while it's running. Don't freak out if your belt starts squealing, because, you know, that water getting on the belt will make them squeal. They'll eventually quit. And after you do that, you shut the motor off, and the heat from the engine, whenever you shut this hood, will actually dry everything up. And once it's dry, you come back out here and you literally start in that back corner and zigzag across this engine. Take WD-40, get you like the super stupid big cans, and you just want to put a fine mist over everything: the battery, the wiring harness, the motor, the air filter box. I mean, spray everything down with it. All your rubber hoses and your wiring connectors. And I guarantee you, this is a trick that I have whenever I used to flip cars. It will look like that engine was just put in there by the dealership. It looks brand new. It looks amazing. So that's what we do at Driven by Christ Auto too. So just giving you a little bits of hints on stuff that I actually do on real cars. Brakes and stuff like that, whenever we clean off rims and stuff, Purple Power does work good. But if you got aluminum rims that don't have the plastic clear coat, Alumabrite works. It comes in like a gray bottle, and they also sell some stuff from Eagle. It's aluminum brightener, but it's got acid in it, so you got to be careful with it. You don't want to handle that stuff with your hands. But anyways, alright, so I just saw O'Reilly's pull up out of here in the corner of my eye, so they done dropped off our parts for us. They normally chunk them over here by this door or put them back over there. But anyways, we got our intercooler in, so let's get this thing up in the air and get our boost pipes on, and we will get to town on this, because I'm ready to program this car. See what type of numbers we're gonna put down on the dyno with a little bit of Driven by Christ upgrades that we done. So this is gonna increase horsepower 3.5% guaranteed, you know, minimum. So look at there, nice TIG welded aluminum. You don't have to worry about this breaking. Now what this would have, there would be a pipe coming around this turbo somewhere running through here, and it would connect to this intercooler. Whenever you're running pressurized air, that air gets really hot whenever the turbo, you know, the turbo's already hot because it's being driven by exhaust pressure. So a lot of heat is being saturated into the air. Alright, well, whenever you're trying to pull air into a motor, the hotter the air is, the less air that goes in it. Because the colder the air, the more the molecules stay next to each other, meaning the air is more dense. You have more oxygen to put in the cylinder, meaning a bigger bang, the more fuel you can add. Because you don't want too much boost or too much oxygen, because then things run lean, and it will be rebuilding an engine for sure. Because there's going to be a window in the side of the block, probably somewhere right here where that number 3 cylinder is. So either way, we don't want that. So anyways, what it does is that hot air runs through this intercooler, and it zigzags back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, it's called an air-to-air cooler. So as cold air from the ambient temperature outside goes through the bumper, it cools that superheated pressurized air before it goes into the engine, and it increases your performance. Some people like taking compressed air or nitrous or some, whatever. Sometimes I've seen actual people use like some type of freezing agent or freon or not freon, but something that is like literally just freezes stuff on contact, and they got misters that spray it on the intercooler right before they run a race to get the intercooler like almost frozen. So the air to air change, you're getting the coldest air you can get, even though the outside air temperature is not that cold. It's not below freezing. So just kind of explain how an intercooler works. So, and it's only good for boosted vehicles. It does not do you no good on an NA. That's the reason why some of these cars, I wondered why they had intercoolers and they're not even boosted cars. Unless I could maybe see that if you were possibly pulling air from up underneath the hood where it's hot. But if you got like your factory air intake, it runs down in here into your fender well where it sucks in cold air from where your tire rotates at. So you're not pulling in the hot air from up underneath the hood. That's the reason why I think it's funny. These cold air intakes these kids used to put back on their 90s Honda Civics, like, yeah, you had a little bit better airflow, but you were still losing power because you were sucking in hot air straight up from the cooling fan off of the radiator, which is where most of the intercoolers stopped at. The air filter was like 3 inches away from the radiator cooling fan. So it's pulling this hot coolant air from the radiator, blowing it right up into the intake of your motor, killing your performance. So what was the use of even unrestricting the air if you're just going to shove hot air into your engine? Now, if you put one of those baffles around it and ran a pipe down to the front of your car, then you would achieve the maximum horsepower gains from that. And that's what I did with mine. I made it out of a little plastic container, or I got some sheet metal and put a rubber seal on it and made it where it had like how the mason jars have them little clips and you can fold them down and it holds them shut. Well, I made something similar with that with 309 stainless steel TIG welding rods. So I fabricated a lot of stuff whenever I had a welding machine. I was constantly building little nifty tools. So, alright, so we got suspension on, we got exhaust on, we got to go ahead and put our fuel tank in and put our fuel pump in. And what we will do from there is we got a fuel. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. So we gotta take our muffler back off so we can put our fuel tank in, because that would be in the way. Alright, so new fuel tank, and driven by Christ Auto, we do not run. Oh my lord, are you kidding me? We do not have any fuel pumps neither? Man, alright, this is gonna be ordering week for parts. Well, O'Reilly's is fixing to have a big cow over this one. Somebody is, whenever they see these fuel pumps come in. Because I'm getting regular, I only use performance fuel pumps, but they're quite expensive. They're $300 a piece, so I'm gonna order 10 of them. So that's a $2,500 order that somebody's fixing to get at O'Reilly's right now. They're probably waiting at the computer for that thing to print off. So, alright, so we got that in, so we're waiting on a fuel pump now. We only use good performance fuel pumps. Walbro is what I, prefer. They're really good fuel pump and sending unit. Ooh. Tastes like candy. Alright. I guess while we're waiting, what we can do for our fuel pump, we're not going to add fluids. I always do fluids last because I will end up forgetting something if I bounce back and forth. So no fluids have been put into this car. We got the brake bleeder valves open, that way whenever we hook our little tool up into here, it can actually pressurize brake fluid through the entire system. And we got these little jugs that we hang off and rubber hoses that we attach to the bleeder nipples. That way the oil can go through the rubber hoses and it leaks back into our container. That way we ain't got a big oil mess on the floor. But that also will bleed all the air out of the line. And you don't have to pump the brakes or gravity bleed them. It's pain in the tail. It's what you can do if you're just one person in the shop and you ain't got nobody to help you. We're not going to put the front windshield in yet because they normally like getting broken whenever we're working on cars. We're not going to go through that. But alright, so while we're sitting here waiting, I guess we are going to have to put in the front windshield, because what I'm fixing to do is going to involve that. Alright, so we're going to glue our front windshield in. Alright, so we are going to tint the windows on this vehicle. It's a sports car, so we're going to kind of give it some good options. We're not going to get too dark with it, but we are going to use the equipment. Alright, the windshield, so you can do all of this. We're just going to do all the windows. We're not going to do 90. That's a little bit aggressive. We're going to probably do, let's see, 30% is legal, so that's 100%. You ain't seeing through that. That's like some double alt tint. Alright, come on now. 10%, 20, 30% is normally what you can get away with on a factory vehicle. So we're going to tint that for them. Alright, there we go. So in the meantime, while we tinted the windows on this car, we got our other parts in. So we're going to move this back, get it out of the way. Alright, let's get this fuel tank in, or get our fuel pump dropped into our tank and get our fuel lines connected up and our evap system. Everybody's like, well, what is an evap system? Alright, so an evap system is, think about it. If you got a gas tank that's all the way full and you got a gas tank that is a quarter of a way full, which one do you think will catch on fire and blow up the quickest? Alright, most people are going to say, oh, the fuller one. No, it's going to be the quarter filled one because of fumes. Fumes will explode quicker than just a ton of gas will. I mean, I'm not saying it won't catch on fire. Yeah, it will catch on fire, but fumes are the biggest thing to combust quicker. So what this thing does is, as fuel goes down into your tank, you know, the ambient temperature outside will create heat. Even this exhaust will create heat on this tank, and it will create fumes. Well, what the engine does is, whenever you first turn it over, instead of the fuel pump throwing raw fuel to a cold motor, it takes the fumes, which is the evap system, and it sends fumes into the motor, and it allows it to crank up quicker. Then after, you know, few revolutions of it turning over off of fumes, and it sucks the fumes out of the tank, then it starts sending fuel to it. You know, gives a chance for the injectors to catch up. It starts up like as soon as you turn the key. It's actually pretty quick. On them old vehicles, you had to and then they would crank up. Now you just tweet and then they're running. So love my little sounds. Not really, but anyways, just trying to explain what an evap system does. That's the reason why, if your fuel cap has got a bad rubber seal on it, your fumes escape out of here and it causes a fault in the evap system to where your car don't crank up. It kind of stumbles whenever you first crank it up. You know, it's not a killer of the car or anything. It just means you're probably going to have difficulties starting it, but not like to the point where you're just sitting there spinning it over for, like you're cranking up an old 60s or 70 models vehicle trying to get the fuel to suck out of the carb, and then it fires up, or you done flooded it and it won't start at all because you done fouled out the plugs with raw fuel. Alright, so we got our fuel pump in. Let's go ahead and throw a battery into here, and we're gonna see if we are missing any components. Fresh hot battery. We use them extreme series batteries from O'Reilly, which these are the extreme supercells, but they got the batteries you got from O'Reilly's are extreme. You got some economy batteries. but they're Ultima. They're pretty good batteries. And sometimes we do use the what were those batteries that had the red and the yellow and the blue tops, and they were gel cell. They were really good back in the day whenever I used to do audio competition, but I can't think of the name of them right offhand. So either way, most of your Extreme Series batteries from O'Reilly's, they got a 3-year warranty on them, so pretty decent. You know, if it's a car you're planning on keeping. If it's something you're trying to flip, you know, the Walmart special will work. As long as the vehicle cranks up and drives, hey, that's what the customer is asking for. But we try to do our best at Driven by Christ Auto because we want returning customers. So, let's see what we got going on with electronics. Let's see if we got anything missing. We're going to hook up to the computer. See if it recognizes everything. Everything checks out. Alright. So the lowest thing we got on here is the catalytic converter, being that it was 92% of its life is still there. So fairly new catalytic converter, still got some life on it. I got a way of getting rid of them bad boys too with a long non-fouler and some steel wool, but I ain't gonna go into all of that. That's gonna be for the Driven by Christ real auto mechanic channel, which I did all that on my TL, and I was having problems with SD cards and cameras and computer, and I never did get a chance to record all the work that we did to the 300 wheel horsepower Acura TL. That car is so fun to drive, and I'm so glad that I got it back. But we're going to go ahead and start adding fluids into this thing. I think we may have already put oil into here. I don't know. No, it's still dry. We got assembly lube on stuff, so it's still not a good idea to spin the motor over too many times without oil, so we're going to go ahead and put it in. Remember, when the jug goes down, count to 5 quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then stop. And that should, on all engines, it should put you up to the correct level. Close enough. Almost to the max. Alright, so we got that in there. We're going to go ahead and throw our coolant in. And I try to fill everything up you don't want to fill it up over the sensor over the side, but you want to get it pretty high. Because this engine right there, this engine is going to pull a lot of that coolant into it whenever you first turn it over, because it's got to go into the heater core and the dash and all. Oh Lord, here we go. We're removing parts again. Put that thing in here and quit. Oh. Oh boy, I'm just having a day. It's like nothing is working for me at all. Let's put the correct one in. Thank you. Alright. Now we're going to put our windshield wash in. This is our Rain-X Blue Special. Normally O'Reilly's got that up in the front window up there, but we keep a lot of it at our shop. So I think we did put all of our fuses in. We'll do an electronics test again and make sure that that's in there. Now remember, this is an optical illusion. Look, see that second line that's coming up? The darker red? Right there. That's it. Now you see it. It's right there at the level with max. That first line will kind of confuse you. I kept having a car saying it didn't have enough power steering fluid in it or no power steering. I'm like, this thing's already full. Like, how could it need any more? And it's an optical illusion. So alright, now we got the brakes. We'll go ahead and let our brakes gravity bleed. Use that .4 synthetic. And you want to fill this up pretty high on this one, because a lot of this brake fluid is going to leak out of here as you're filling it up. So, and it will get all the air out of the lines. You do not want any air pockets in your brake lines for sure. So, make sure you gravity bleed them or pressure bleed them, whatever you got to do. Make sure you bleed them really good, because you want to be able to get this thing to stop. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a electronics test, make sure everything is going good with it. Check all of our fuses and make sure we didn't forget anything. It's nothing worse of getting a car on the dyno and you done forgot something and you can't do anything with it. Alright, so everything's checking out. We're all in the green here. So electronics look good, fluids good. We should not have to do a compression test at all because we just done it, but we are going to go ahead and test our fuel pressure and make sure that that's up to par. Check our fuel system. It's showing green on the needle, so we should be good. Injectors are looking good. Alright, so everything on our fuel system checked out. We are running a high flow fuel filter, performance fuel filter. We don't want no restrictions there. So, alright. I think we're good on fluids now. So we got fluids in here. We're getting really close for the dyno. I think that was the last thing we had to do besides put interior into it. So now, before we even go to the dyno and start ripping it and doing our tuning and getting all of that, we got to get this car moved to the test path. I'm gonna go get the, well, we can probably, let me see, I may be able to get the steering wheel on here. Let me see. Let's see, assemble. Do we got a steering wheel? No, we do not. Interior. Add interior. Alright, so we're going to put a steering wheel on here. That way we can at least turn the car. Alright, so we threw it in real quick. And we'll put the rest of our interior in over there where we got more room. So I will meet y'all guys on the test path. Let's see. Move car. Test path. Alright, so we got it pushed over here. We didn't crank anything up yet. It's not ready for all of that. We are going to go ahead and put the rest of our interior in. And Johnny is going to need all this paperwork from our test path, our alignment machine, headlight alignment. That way he's got everything that tells him, look man, we went through everything on this car. In this time and day, people want proof that you do your work, not just you telling them, oh, I did it. Because, you know, you do got some people out there that say, oh, I did do something, but they didn't really do it. But with this paperwork, it shows proof. Yes, I did the work. We'll go ahead and throw our back seat in. Black leather, looking nice, looking real good. We can't put any aftermarket stuff on here. I'd love to throw some of them aftermarket ones in there, but there's certain things that Johnny does not want us modifying on the vehicle. So let's go ahead and get ready to do our alignment or our test path. Alright, so what this is going to do is it's going to confirm that suspension is good and brakes are operating correctly. The engine is just running off of a base tune right now that's in the computer. We're going to go ahead and do the final stuff on it once we get it over there in the dyno shop. Okay, brakes are good. Or at least the front ones are. Alright, so shake the suspension. 99, looking pretty good. Alright, 89% in the back, so alright, so suspension and everything is all in the green. So this thing's going to handle like a brand new car again. Now we got to make sure it's aligned and it goes down the road and doesn't chew up the tires. Lord, this thing would have been everywhere. Alright, so we got to pull this tire out up front. Now you want a little bit of toe in on the very front. Yeah, I know the thing is showing zeroed out, but you actually want about, I think it's like, what is it, 13 degrees, 7 degrees? You just want just a little bit of toe on the front, toe in, which would be like this, not 0.25 degrees. I think it's like 13 degrees is what generally what the manufacturers want on there. But most of the time I do my cars, I want them zeroed out. I don't want no toe where it wears out the front tires any quicker, but it helps keep the car in the center of the road, where the car doesn't catch like uneven surfaces and pulls everywhere, but it does wear your tires out quicker. So we got this car aligned, we got it ready to go. So all this paperwork's printing out. We printed out our test path. We're printing out all of our stuff when Jamie gets back from the DMV with our tags that we're going to be putting on here. She'll have all the paperwork for the dealership. That way they can present it to the customer whenever they go to sell this thing. Alright, so we want to try to get both bulbs the same way, looking the same. You know, you got your area of light. May bring it up. Well, they don't want us to bring it up that high, but I like them a little bit higher. That way I can see further down the road. But we got to do what Johnny wants us to do, so it's not our car. We just want a happy customer. Alright, so right about there is pretty good. So now we know that they can see going down the road perfectly. Everything checks out, so this thing is ready. We also fueled it up in here. We normally keep gas in the shop everywhere. This car is a boosted model, so it does have to run 93, the premium gas. And we went ahead and threw a can of seafoam into it just to and some of that Lucas injector oil. We put both of those additives in there. That way it's got a good break-in on these new injectors. They're good and lubricated. You got seafoam, you know, it helps clean out any of the old debris in the fuel lines, and that way our fuel filter will catch it. So now we are ready for the dyno path. So let's go ahead. Oh yeah, we can't do that in here. Anyways, I'll see y'all over there in the dyno path, guys. We're gonna get this car moved. Alright, so I got it in here, got it strapped down. We are going to put the base map into here and just do a hard tune on it. We don't have a ECU where we can really just delete stuff and get outside of parameters and really crank some horsepower out of this car. This is going to be for economy and sport. We're going to try to give them as much power as we can, and we're going to see what our factory upgrades did. So let's look at this. The information on this car was it only had 270 horsepower factory, which is good. I mean, that's good for a 4-cylinder with a turbo. That's as much horsepower as my V6 Acura TL had whenever it was brand new. So and this car weighs 3,139 pounds. So yeah, if this car was a real car and had that much power, it would be able to just stomp my TL. So this thing's in real life, this thing would be a 160 miles per hour car. So but let's see what type of benefits we got out of this thing. Let's see what we got. See what our numbers are. So tuning is only available. Yeah, well, we're just putting a base map. I already know that. So right here it tags the ECU. It'd be plugged into it. There'd be a wire plugged in, and then we would be ready to see what our numbers are. So factory horsepower 270, 273 foot-pounds of torque. So let's see what we got now. Ooh, big torque right off the line. Not bad at all. We got a 32 horsepower gain with the few things that we added, and this is on a factory ECU, guys. Was able to give it a little bit more performance outlook. But 32 horsepower gain, that's pretty good for what we done. So 300 wheel horsepower. So this thing should be pretty quick. Should be pretty quick through the quarter or through the half mile, which we are going to run it and down at the track and make sure everything performs correctly. But let's go ahead and go over the work order on this car. Make sure that we did not forget anything. Spray car with factory paint. I did do that. I don't understand why this thing is having a fit. Let me get this thing moved to the paint booth. Apparently something didn't get done right. I'll see y'all over there. Ah, great. Now my camera's only got 5 minutes. Now I don't understand what's going on with this factory color. Okay, factory color, gloss. Let's go. Alright. Alright, so we went ahead and resprayed the whole car with our special paint. It's a color and clear coat, 3 times clear coat, but we got to put a vacuum into this room and go ahead and add a little bit of heat, and this car will be cured after lunchtime. But me and Jamie are fixing to go to lunch, so looks like it's going to be a part 2 for Wednesday, but this car has turned out really good. Go ahead and turn on our machine over here. Alright, it's going. And that'll be it. We're going to go ahead and catch a lunch while this is heating up in here and pulling a vacuum into the room. And our paint should be like brand new whenever we get back. Should have a nice clear coat on it. But anyways, guys, I only got like 4 minutes. I'm going to put my camera on charge. And whenever we get back from lunch, we will go over the work order again. We'll put our tags on there, and we are going to go run it down at the drag strip and make sure the car does perform well. And then after that, it'll be ready for Johnny to come and pick it up. But anyways, guys, it's been fun. I'll catch y'all after lunch, and y'all have a blessed day. Later.